Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Rants About Tech Live, number 128 for this Thursday, January 4th day? Wow. Okay, we're almost at the end of July. July 24th. Summer's going away. I feel like I'm missing the summer. I feel like it's slipping away. I really do. I feel like it just got here yesterday and it's almost gone. Like I judge the summers by like when the days start getting shorter. It's already happened. Welcome to that episode, everybody. Thank you for being here. We got chat crew in here already. I thank you guys for getting the engagement going early. We got Mashup Mike in here. We got Big Mike. We got eInk. We got BM in the building. BM, I know you can't see me. I was going to type more than I typed about your surgery there. I know you can't see me though. Can you see that? No, you're joking. Blame Owen for that. We had to do the flip off since you can't see us yet. I apologize. Thank you guys for being here, though. Who else we got in here? Owen. Thanks for being here, Owen. Yeah, that was Owen's thing. Fix this microphone. Yeah, that was definitely Owen's thing. We got a couple good things to talk about here. We're going to talk about the executive order on AI that happened yesterday. I actually saw that early, meant to say something about it. Didn't though. I forgot all about it. I heard it in the shower and just didn't remember to write it down. But we're going to talk about that today. I actually have the order up. I've read through the whole order, so we're just going to talk about the finer points of that. Google Home gets an update, so we're going to talk about that today as well. But as always, before we get the show started, let's talk about the holidays. Things to be happy about here today. One thing I'm not happy about is the fact that I have to turn off touch on my Go 10.3. Wonky things have been happening today. I won't go into it, but just know things. All right, so first thing we got here is what did we have them? Oh yeah, Amelia Earhart Day. So today is Amelia Earhart Day. Now, if you don't know who Amelia Earhart is, definitely do your Googles. One of the early adventuring pioneers in U.S. history, flying her plane across the Atlantic, I think it was. Apparently she got lost in the Bermuda Triangle. Just to bring some awareness to Amelia Earhart and the contribution she's made. What else we got here? National Tequila Day. Now, I'm gonna have me some tequila today. I got to, since it's National Tequila Day. I'm telling you, I had some tequila yesterday after the live. I also had the ice cream with the chocolate and peanut butter that we talked about, since yesterday was like chocolate and peanut butter. And I thought how cool it would be to do that with some ice cream today. And it was vanilla ice cream day yesterday too. So I had to have all of those together. We talked about it on live, but I had to have all of those together. We do know this EO wasn't issued by AI. Or do we know? We don't know. Absolutely, yay for women in aviation. They had other random ones, but those are probably the biggest ones happening today. Good morning, Aaron. Thanks for being here. Let's get that applause going for all you guys in the chat. I really appreciate you. Thanks for being here early and getting the show started with me. Absolutely. Again, like I was going to say in the beginning of the show, Rants About Tech, episode 128. I'm Rod. This is Philadelphia, where it's sunny today at, and I have with me some of my good friends here, aka co-hosts in the chat. So thank you guys again, like I say always, for being here. I really do feel like you guys are my co-hosts. Without you, I wouldn't have conversation to talk about. I'd have to go to Reddit all the time. We're going to Reddit today. We're going to Reddit today to find some things to talk about. But, you know, who needs that when we have you guys in the chat? You know, who needs that? All right. So what else we got here? I want to give a big shout out to, again, like I said before, the chat crew, the Discord gang. If you don't know, there's a link in the Discord. You can join the Discord gang, and we're in there all the time. We have a lot of dedicated people in holding it down. If you have questions, we have answers. Conversations are always going on about that. And if you want to continue the conversation about anything we're going to talk about here today, that's the place you would likely go and do it. Members who joined through the channel. So big up to the members. We got a lot of members of the channel, of the YouTube channel in here already, designated by their member tag there. I appreciate you guys. What else we got here? Subscribers and likers. I appreciate you guys. Viewers. Voyeurs. If you're just a voyeur, you're not into this, the chat for discussion. You're not trying to throw the likes up there, but you just voyeurism. You just like to watch. Okay, we appreciate you. First and last time viewers, as always. You need first and last time viewers. First time because you always got to get first time, and then last time because I'm an acquired taste. I know it's I like that. But anyway, what else we got here? I think that's it for the introductions here. I think that's it for the intro. Oh, one more thing I want to say before we get the tech news started here. Again, I turned my touch off, so I have to use my stylus for everything. I'm hating life right now. I do this a lot, but I'm not going to do it anymore. And I just want to give everyone a heads up. This may be in tomorrow's show. It may not. Who knows? People give me their opinions all the time. I don't typically give my hard opinions on stuff. You guys hear my hard opinions on tech, but you don't hear my hard opinions on other people's opinions. I don't do that very often. But yesterday was my last day doing that. If there's an opinion of mine I have that's contradictory to someone else's opinion, you guys are going to hear it. And I'm not going to hold any punches. Yesterday was my last day doing that. I'm never doing that again. So not a new rod, but, a more conjecturing rod, as it were. All right, so let's go ahead and get to the tech story, shall we? All right, so first thing we got here up on the list to talk about is going to be the AI executive order that went into place yesterday. This was an executive order on AI. Now, when they talked about this story, when I was listening to it, it was like, oh, this is meant to push AI forward, and it's taking the handcuffs off AI companies, giving them less regulation and the more ability, the tools to do more quicker, to catch up with like the Chinese AI companies that are surpassing what we're doing in a cheaper way, mind you. So that's what I'm thinking. So I thought when I read this, I'm going to see some legislation that's going to be about less restriction, less regulation, all those things. But that's not what I found there, in all honesty. Let's pull this up real quick. That's not what I found in this executive order at all. And let's talk about it really quickly here. So, preventing woke AI in the federal government. So that's the title I'm faced with when I go to find the executive order. I'm like, oh, this doesn't sound like pushing AI forward at all. This sounds like an agenda, but whatever. What do I know? So I go and read it. So I read through this whole thing here, and this is this is what I pulled out of it. Okay, first of all, there's no regulation in this AI executive order that is decreasing regulation on AI. That's not in here. If that was the intent, they didn't put it in here. There's nothing in here about taking restrictions off of different AI like laws we have in place right now, contradicting the Biden era AI laws. I don't see any of that in here either. What I do see, and like I wrote here, there's supposed to be fewer guardrails on AI development and less regulation. But again, that's not what I got from this. So basically what I got from this is it bans tech companies, not bans tech companies, but it makes restrictions on companies' AI and how they train their AI. And they keep using the word woke in this particular thing. Now, woke could mean a lot of things, and now I'm not one to debate what that means and define it. I don't really care. It's just it's verbiage that's in here, so we're talking about it. And it's talking about the AI's or the government's use of AI, right? So this is basically something restricting the government's use of AI, whether the government is contracting other companies to use their AI for government use, or whether it's government use as in government employees are using it in an official capacity that's not contracted, but they're a government official using it. Just like you can't use certain phones as a government official, right? So this will be the same way in that you can't use certain AI if you're a government official under these new guidelines. Let's go to the chat real quick to see the. Oop, we got top chat on. Let me get live chat on. Okay, there we go. My bad, you guys. I had top chat on. It was skewing some of the chat, but here we go. Ratta's about to reveal he voted MAGA. Hi, my name is Grok. My pronouns are yeah. So, well, this is the thing here. So, basically what this particular order covers is just the government's ability to contract AI and use AI within the government. And I thought, like I said, I thought this was going to be a big thing because it was supposed to push AI forward, but that's not what this is about at all. So it mentions Google Gemini. It doesn't mention Google Gemini by name, but it definitely mentions Google Gemini in action because it mentions a couple of instances where it has examples of woke nature. I guess they're giving examples of what they consider woke nature in AI. And one example, which I absolutely agree with, is the fact that Google Gemini was producing pictures of historical figures, but they were African American. They were black figures. And we all know George Washington wasn't black. We all know the Vikings weren't black, right? But they were depicting them as black people, and that was an oversight for Google and Gemini and how they trained the model. Now, I don't know how that would have happened. Call it overcorrecting. I don't know, but regardless of how it happened, it was a thing, right? And it stunned a lot of people, as it should have, because that's not true exactly. All right, so basically what the thing is that instances like that has rubbed people the wrong way, has rubbed a lot of high-ranking people in the government the wrong way, and they view a lot of AI through that particular lens. So that's a lot of where this legislation is coming from. So where I thought it was legislation that was taking the cuffs off of tech companies, allowing them to do more with AI. It's essentially saying if your AI doesn't meet this criteria of like, I was gonna say bipartisanship, but that's not the word to use. If your AI doesn't meet our level of unwokeness, I guess is the only thing I can think of right now, then you can't have contracts with the government, right? And government officials won't be using your AI. So that's basically what this is saying. It has a 120-day deadline put in place for the government to issue guidance to agencies who are going to be implementing this executive order to put it in place. So from yesterday, they have a 120-day deadline to put this kind of plan in action. Okay, so we're looking at 3 months till this is actually going to be put in play, and then 90 days after it's been put into play, the guidelines that they outline in the executive order will have to be abided by. And if they're not, then at that point, the government, if they have any contracts with companies who haven't adhered to the guidelines, at that point, they'll be severing all ties with those companies. And then they outline what that means specifically in the executive order as well. But like I said, I didn't see anything in this executive order that talked about restrictions or regulations, right, on AI. It was just talking about adhering to a set of guidelines for anti-wokeness. So that's what this order is about. If it does change any, we'll talk more about it. But right now, this just looks like guidelines for the government in using AI, just like the government has guidelines for using particular cell phones or using particular cell phone carriers or using particular services, like messaging services. So the government, they're not allowed, or government officials aren't allowed to use certain messaging services that aren't encrypted, right? So this is just more guidelines on the government about, they're just adding AI to the guidelines that government officials can and can't use, and who the government will and won't make or accept contracts with going forward in the future. So that seems to be what this is about. Let's hit the chat up real quick. I prefer unwoke AI. I prefer an unbiased AI, no matter which way it goes. If it means it's unwoke, fine. Whatever word you want to use. But for me, I want an AI that's going to give me the facts. A case in point, and they brought up some good examples in here of how AI. Now, I don't like the word woke. I wish we would come up with a new word for that, because woke is a term that was used long before it got into the political ecosphere. It was used as a term to signify someone coming out of a bad state into seeing their life in a different way. That's what it meant to me a long time ago. Now it means something totally different. And I wish we would not take words that had such a good meaning and make it sound so nasty. But we need a new word for this. I mean, I absolutely need a new word. Woke has been taken from something that was good to something that's, could be considered bad. But the point here is, I want AI that doesn't consider any of that, whether that's anti-woke or not. I don't really care. Just, I don't want you to consider race, creed, age, sex. I don't want AI to consider any of that when they're giving me data on what I'm asking for. You know what I mean? So whatever you call that, yeah, that's what I want. That's what I want. Agree, Masha Mike. No one behind the curtain. Yeah, I don't need my AI having an agenda. You know what I mean? I just can we live in a world that's the case? Probably not, because companies are making these, and just like we witnessed with the Google Gemini debacle, they can make them to skew in certain situations. Now, there was an example that was used. Another example. What was it? So this one example is something that I agree with, right? They brought up an example of how AI even were skewing the achievements of certain races. So if you were looking up a certain race, the achievements of a certain race that was like non-black or non-like ethnic, or just non-minority, right? If you were looking at achievements for those types of people, they didn't say what AI was doing it, but I do remember reading something about this a long time ago, so I know that it happened. I just, this is a good example of why you don't want these kind of biases. It was not bringing up the achievements of non-ethnic peoples and bringing up all the achievements of ethnic peoples. And I think, and yeah, you want it to show the light on all achievements, right? No matter what race. Again, I don't want my results with racial and any other kind of biases. You know what I'm saying? I don't want that. And I don't think a lot of people want that, right? So it's just like who would want that? Who would want someone's opinion that was skewed a certain way? Like if I'm having a conversation with someone and I know off, like right when the conversation starts, that their opinion is already skewed a certain way, then why would I want to have that conversation? You know what I mean? Because everything I get from this person is going to be skewed. And same with AI. Like, why would I want my AI to do that? It's going to be skewed. I wouldn't want that. But that's what this seems to kind of go at here. Now, this could mean a lot of things, right? But for me, I take it as just another way the government is restricting what officials use and how they go about making their contracts. Until I see something different. But anyway, that's the thing. So this, it wasn't as tantalating and as interesting as I thought it was going to be honest with you. I thought it was going to be like OpenAI gets large tax cuts and they're not making them have safety guardrails on their AI anymore. That's what I thought I was going to find there. None of that was there. All right, what else we have here? Next up, we have Minecrafters building a Independence Hall in Philadelphia. I think that's, I think that was super interesting. Oh, where is it at? Um, where? Oh, there we go. Minecrafters building this Independence Hall in Minecraft is just hilarious. Very cool though. Very cool though. You got to appreciate it. Now, this is a part of a bigger project that's going on in Minecraft, and I forgot what the name of it. Oh, it's called Build the Earth. So this is a part of the bigger Build the Earth project that's going on in Minecraft. I love things like this. There's another game that does something like this as well. It's called Elite Dangerous. It's a space sim. Spaceships. I love spaceships in space. But this game has gone out and created our solar system on a 1-to-1 scale. Our galaxy, our Milky Way galaxy, on a 1-to-1 scale. So yeah, super interesting when people go and recreate real life things like this in virtual environments, especially when it's done by people who care about it getting done. You know, it's a labor of love for a lot of people, and I really do like this. And the fact that it's of Independence Hall that's here in Philadelphia, just makes it even more cooler. I mean, just looking at this, I've rode my one wheel around this little plaza so many times. I remember a time falling on one of these curbs and dang near breaking a rib. So yeah, good times at Independence Hall. What do we got next up here? Modular phone design. Let's take a look at this modular phone. So this right here, modular phone concept, lets you pick the perfect size every day. Let's go ahead and take a look at this particular video here, shall we? Now right off the bat, like I said, I love the size of this. I love the size of the small one. It's kind of like the flip size that we were talking about the other day that I didn't know was hugely popular. Ed hit me up and was like, Melissa loves her flip. And I was telling him that I didn't realize that it was so big with women. I don't know why that didn't make sense to me, but I didn't know that at all, but it totally makes perfect sense at this point. It's just small. It can fit into a lot of small purses where a big phone wouldn't be able to do that, right? Super interesting. But I like this design right here. The fact that you can put it in different shells. This is what I like. This to me, I've had ideas about tech like this for a long time, and to see this isn't made. This is just a tech demo, a mock-up, if you will. This hasn't been made in real life at all. No parts of this is real. This is just someone's idea of how this could work. I still like it though. I like it a lot. Let's go ahead and take a look at the stats down here. I mean, I can be dainty at times too, Mr. Mike. Let's go to the. We'll go to the chat after this one. This is a pretty cool phone though. I really do like it. They show some stats. Here we go. 2400 megapixel. That don't even. Wow, 2400 megapixel camera. What the crap? I think they meant 24 megapixel camera, because 2400 that doesn't exist yet. A Snapdragon 8 Elite CPU, which now I don't even know what to think about any of these stats. And like I said, this isn't made, so those stats don't mean anything. This is just someone's idea. Apparently, this is called the H1. What do we think? Is this an idea we could get behind? I like it because you can just take the base phone right here and throw that somewhere, like in your pocket. If you're just going outside the house, you're on a run. It fits, it's small, fits in your pocket. It's not really thick. I love that. I would take that like when I'm one-wheeling in a heartbeat, like doing something substantial. It's small, could fit anywhere. Yeah, and the fact that it just slides in, you know what I mean? It's the central part of the phone. The thing that bothers me is the fact that you'd have to pay for 3 different screens. You know what I mean? That's what sucks about this. Other than that, though, I really do like the idea. So 3.3 inches for the small thing. That's almost the size of the first iPhone. I showed that yesterday. I don't know where it's at now. The battery size is what would hurt the smaller one, right? But again, for doing just like a quick something, when you can just, you're going to be out for like 2 hours doing something active, you can just take the small phone. You know what I mean? I think it's perfect. I think it's perfect. And yes, it's definitely perfect for the skinnies. If you rock the skinny jeans like moi, perfect for the skinnies. I think this is awesome. I really do like it. What do we think, chat? We on board with this? We not? We'd rather the flip? Let's go to the chat. I don't think curation invalidates AI. For example, AI teams usually host a team of people that retain the model for false positives, negatives. Duroc. Okay. Good take, Duroc. Good perspective. Mr. Mike says, I want all my AI results to be in terms of black people so nobody can call me racist. At least I think that flawed reasoning is what caused us to get here. You know what? It's right. And you're making light of that, right? And but there's some validity to what you're saying right now. Owen says the problem is with identity politics is that irrespective of race or gender, people leading the argument are always going to skew the argument in their favor. There you go. And that's why I said I don't think it's something we're ever going to escape. Because like you said, the people leading the argument, and in my example, I was just talking about the people making the tech, right? They have a certain ideology in mind, right? And what they're creating is going to reflect that. The people working on it, their ideology is going to reflect in that as well. So Owen says, Antifa does it. BLM does it. The Daily Wire and white supremacists do it. Yeah, everyone does it. And that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's something we're going to get away from. So if it's in people, it's going to be in AI because AI is an extension of us, right? If there is no us, there is no AI, right? Because women are dainty. Like I said, I can be dainty too. A small modular, how do you show coupons to cashier and supermarket? What? QR code. Modular phones are cool in concept, says The Rock, but in practice, if I can't fit a flagship in my skinny jeans, where am I going to put the shell? That's why I said I wouldn't carry the shell and the phone. I think I would just carry the phone with me when I went to go do something. Like if I'm going out for a dinner, I'm probably not going to be out of the house for more than like 4 or 5 hours. I think an 1800 milliamp hour battery could last me 4 or 5 hours if I'm not, I won't be scrolling YouTube on it because it's a small screen. You could, right? But I don't think I will be using it in that way. Plus, if you're interacting with people, you probably won't be on your phone like that anyway. And it can take pictures. It does everything you need, right? The only problem I can see is the battery not being big enough. But I definitely wouldn't carry the shell and the phone. I would only carry the phone, regardless if I'm putting that in one of the other two shells. I would never just carry. I would never carry the phone and one of the shells. You're right. That would be redundant. That would be like carrying two phones. I wouldn't be able to do that. Duroc says, no, this is Mr. Mike. I strongly suggest losing the skinny jeans. What? Never, dude. I'm with The Rock. Never. I look good, bro. Aaron says modularity is overrated. Yeah, in some situations. Now, this is the modular life I want to live in, right? This is the modular idea for me. Kind of like the phone we just saw, but with a computer. This is what I want. I want my phone to be the central nervous system of everything that I do. Now, this is why I like this modular idea that we just saw. Because consider this. Consider the smallest portion of this, which is this thing right here. Can we zoom in on this? What? We can't zoom in on this? Bro, I can't zoom in on your site. Your site's garbage. Okay, there we go. All right. So now let's take a look at just this portion right here, right? I want something like that to be the central nervous system of everything I do. And this is why I like this idea. Because what I would do is I would have that pack the most powerful CPU it could pack. I would want it to pack the most powerful CPU it could pack. I want it to have a little bit of RAM, right? I want it to have storage. Actually, it wouldn't even have to have. Yeah, it would have to have storage. It would have to have a certain amount of storage on it, right? That would be usable for me. And what I want to do is I want to take that, put it into a shell, like put that into a shell like this right here, right? And then have it be my phone. Then I want to sit it into the base of my laptop and have it be the base and have it be the brains for my laptop as well. You see where I'm going with this? I think we're gonna get to that future. Because I think that's where it's at. I think the computing that we can hold in our pocket is enough computing for us to do throughout our day. Now, of course, there are certain situations where you're going to need more power than that particular combo can give you, right? And that's when you get dedicated systems for dedicated purposes. But for your everyday, just for me, surfing the web, a bigger screen like a laptop, throw this in there. It has all the information there. So wherever I was I was at in my day on that thing, I throw it in here. It picks right up on the laptop. Whatever I was doing when I was using that little puck, whenever I slide it into the phone adapter, the screen on the phone adapts to that and knows exactly where I was, and I pick up with more RAM, a bigger screen. You know what I mean? It just and then think. It could get even more interesting if we have, because I know right now we can run multiple GPUs and CPUs, right? We can run those things in tandem. What if we can link the CPU and the GPU that's in the small puck with a bigger GPU and CPU that's actually in the home device, like the laptop or the bigger phone screen? That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking right there. I've been thinking that for years. The Rock says a lot of modular things have tried, like tablets that convert to laptops. None really have taken off. It's too much. It is a lot. I definitely think that's where this is going, though. I don't think we're going to have dedicated machines. I just having information that follows you around is super tantalizing. Modularity is making it easy for Ratta to fix my screen on my Manta for only $230, including shipping to and from Shanghai. Okay. Well, that's better than spending the $500, right? Owen says, Rod, it isn't the future. The future is something small that delivers information to glasses. Agreed. But I still think your phone could be the central processing unit of even that, right? Think about how we use, that little puck, right? And I said this I said this on Monday's live, I think, and how I thought that the phone could be the central part of what the eyeglasses do. It is right now anyway, and I think we're just going to extend that, right? Think about it this way. The processing for AI is done in the cloud, right? Over the internet. We can send a signal from the glasses to the phone to offload processing from the glasses to the phone, and vice versa, and back and forth. The phone would be an integral part in that because it could handle more processing than you can put in some small glasses. That would allow you to make the glasses even smaller, right? So I think the future, we can live in that future too. Glasses are included in that. Since I broke my Manta twice so far, yeah. Dex is your next Pixel. BM, Dex is awesome. And we talked about how Chrome is being integrated with Android here pretty soon, right? They're going to start. They've already started migrating some of the features between the two platforms. They're gonna do an Apple and basically combine those features into one operating system, right? Like Apple has. Like we got iOS, and that incorporates iPad, the watch, the phone, and then we got Mac OS. But it's basically the same system, right? They're using a lot of the same design language for all of those platforms. They're migrating a lot of the services and features between all of those platforms. That's exactly what Google's going to do with their platform, and they've already started down that road. So I anticipate being able to. I guess what I'm saying here, BM, is I anticipate being able to use Chrome OS on my Android phone as a desktop OS, just like they do on the Chromebooks. Pretty much the only modular thing that I can think of with success is the Switch. Does that count? Yes, the Switch does count. Absolutely, DeRock. But that's not the only one. That's not the only thing that's modular that's really caught on. I was thinking about this yesterday, and I was thinking about, just because of the way that one controller or gaming system that's like the DS kind of broke apart, it made me think of some other transforming tech. The Supernote totally modular. Well, 3 pieces basically. If the Manta screen is $250 and SoC is going to be $300 or more, I might as well buy the new device when it comes out. If you need to replace the screen and SoC, yes, you're better off buying a new device. But if you only need one of those, for repair, I can see it. Right, exactly. Hold on, I'm coming in, but I don't do cameras. Oh snap! Hold on, my bad. Okay, hold on. My bad. I didn't even look over here, so I'll see you guys there. If you raise your hand in the Discord now, as always, we have a call-in portion of the show to where when we're stopping to talk about stuff, if anyone comes into the Discord inside the events channel, if you come in there and raise your hand where I know you want to say something, or if you let me know in chat that you want to say something, hop in. I'll invite you to say something in the Discord, and then you'll be able to talk and share your opinion with everyone else on the live show. So that's an option for anyone that's in the live show or in the Discord. Link for that is actually down in the description. Link for the Discord is also down in the description. Check that out down below. My bad. I'm just seeing that. The Rock says, Rod and me want the hand terminal from the show, The Expanse. Oh my goodness. How cool would that be? Small and it does everything. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You see what I'm saying? I think that's where we're going. Small is better for those of us that can't carry a lot. When the skinny jeans is too skinny, you know what I'm saying? But not all about the size, of course. It's about how you use it. Oh my God, Mike. I'm gonna stop reading Mike's comments out loud. I'm gonna read them to myself first and then read them out loud. All right, moving on to our next little thing we got here. T-Mobile Starlink plans. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what the deal is with T-Mobile and their Starlink plans here. What we got here? T-Mobile satellite service is now, let's see the title here. Starlink powered T-satellite service is now live on T-Mobile. The service only supports text and location sharing over satellite for now, but more features are on the way. So T-Mobile satellite service is now available to people across the U.S. and not just T-Mobile customers. On Wednesday, T-Mobile CEO Mike Severt announced that the Starlink powered service is officially out of beta, though it only supports text messaging and location sharing for now. The new satellite coverage option is called T-Satellite, and it's currently available as a standalone subscription. It's being offered at $10 a month for a limited time before increasing to $15 a month. It also includes it also comes included for customers on the carrier's $100 per month Experience Beyond or older Go 5G plans. Your device will automatically connect to T-Satellite if you're in an area with no cellular coverage. As long as there isn't any heavy amount of cloud coverage or trees blocking your view of the sky, you should be able to send and receive text messages, including to 911, as well as share a link that temporarily shares your location. T-Mobile support page says ability to send pictures is available on most Android phones, and the company plans on adding support for more devices soon. T-Mobile also aims to enable voice messaging and will eventually allow devices to connect to satellite optimized apps, which it previously said could include AllTrails, AccuWeather, and WhatsApp. I think that's interesting. The AllTrails integration makes it a bit appealing for me. Again, I'm a trail person, whether that's hiking, trail running. I most of my riding on the one wheel is on trails. So, and I regularly use all trails, just to find trails to mark where I've been, so other people that are in the one wheel community can kind of, test their mettle against my speed. No one has supplanted me yet. I'm the best in my mind. Anyway, but I do like that. So this all trails implementation is pretty handy. The more than 650 Starlink satellites used by T-Mobile covers the continental U.S., Hawaii, parts of southern Alaska, and Puerto Rico. The carrier says it's working on offering satellite connectivity while abroad and in international waters as well. So that's the system with Starlink and T-Mobile. I think it's going to be a pretty good service. And without that all trails integration, I don't think I would care. I don't think I would care at all. What else we got up here? Next up, we have Meta. Meta has a wristband that controls computers with hand gestures. Now, when I first saw this, I thought this is going along with Meta's AR plan, because when they talked about Project Orion last year and the beginning of this year, they debuted some wristbands that worked with Project Orion. And Project Orion is basically Meta's AR glasses. They are full-fledged, fully featured AR glasses that are going to cost like $10,000 a pair. So they're trying to get the cost down and the size of this thing down and the battery size of this thing down. But anyway, that's the project that I thought we were talking about when I saw this. I'm like, oh, so they got more information on the wristband for the Project Orion. That's not this, Jack. The wristband that we're talking about here is way more interesting. So let's go ahead and get into it. Researchers at Meta have developed a wristwatch style tool that can interact with devices using hand gestures or even thought. As the company detailed in a blog post, the Bluetooth device lets users control a computer with their hand resting comfortably at their side. Just like the AR glasses. It allows the user to do obvious things like move a cursor around, but users can also type out messages by writing out the letters in the air. The device operates using surface electromyography, a non-invasive way to track the electrical activity of muscles. Based on our findings, we believe that the surface electromyography at the wrist is the key to unlocking the next paradigm shift in human-computer interaction, the company said in a blog post. Meta researchers have also published a research paper about the device in the Nature Science Journal, which that's serious business, you guys. Like, Meta is publishing research papers on this tool. When you publish your research papers to this publication, it's serious business, okay? Which explains the new technology in slightly more complex terms. Here we describe the development of a generic non-invasive neuromotor interface that enables computer input decoded from surface electromyography. Yeah, that's a serious title right there. All right, so we can get a little glimpse of kind of like how this works here. Let's check it out. What? Meet the future of human-computer interaction, a wristband that turns muscle signals into digital commands. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. All right, let's go back over here. Our neural networks are trained on data from thousands of consenting research participants, which makes them highly accurate at decoding subtle gestures across a wide range of people. This is coming from the post made by Meta. In fact, Meta said this process was so effective that the device can even recognize your intent to perform a gesture, which could let them control a device simply by thinking. Chat, let's get big. Oh boy. Did you just see that? By thinking. What is happening here? Okay, let's just keep going. Okay. Oh my goodness. As Thomas Reardon, one of the authors of the Meta research paper, told the New York Times, you don't have to actually move. You just have to intend to the move. What? What? The wrist device could make computers more accessible to people with mobility challenges, which is where I think this thing is going to really shine. That's because the device seems much less invasive than something like Neuralink. It seems much less invasive This is a wristband. Neuralink is something you put into your head. It seems much less, bro. I would argue that it is much less evasive. Okay, I don't think that's a question. Okay, stop being what do they call that? Rhetorical, bro. Okay, save the rhetoricalness. Given that the Meta's device doesn't require something to be implanted directly into the brain. Yeah, that's an understatement, okay? Of course, Meta's blog post didn't give the device a name, price, or release date. It seems much more experimental in nature than something that's intended for mass market adoption in the near future. Which, like I said, which would be in line with their Orion project. Right? That was not something that was meant for mass market consumption that they showed off. They just wanted to show the world they had chops to do something incredible. So yeah, I think that's interesting. Let's go ahead and go to the chat real quick. I had the Starlink beta on my phone, says Mr. Mike, but it never kicked in because I always had a signal. Okay, cool. How long did you have that Starlink for, and how much did you pay for it? If you don't mind me asking. Duroc says, my flip can do satellite and I'm on T-Mobes. Good to know. There we go. Glad I was passing on some good knowledge. Like I said, this is interesting to me just because of the all trails. I would use it because when you're on trails, you don't really have it's good for trail coverage, right? Because when you're on trails, you're typically in a rural area with a bunch of tree cover. So and GPS doesn't work well in a lot of these places, but finding a clearing in one of these areas and being able to get a satellite signal would be supreme. And to have satellite tracking when I'm going through a trail would be awesome. So, and that's something that the All Trails app does. Wait, what? What's the One Wheel community? The One Wheel community is awesome, dude. So the One Wheel is a electric device that you ride around on with one wheel. But we typically do mountain bike trails, right? So we're on mountains when we do our stuff, and this would be cool for that kind of thing. So one wheels are trail vehicles in my mind, because I use them as that. And I have a trick device that's down right now. I need to buy me another trick board because my trick board went down and it only needs a tire. I need to just get off my butt and just buy a new tire for that thing. And I'll have another trick board. One wheels were everywhere at the conference I was at this week, trying to convince my pilot into getting them for us, but they don't have any that are toddler friendly. No. Yeah. It's one wheels are awesome and they're fun, especially if you like going on trips like that, eInk. They're awesome for trail trips or camping trips because it's a vehicle you can ride around on trails and in trail campsites, because there's no pollution from the motor and they aren't loud, so there's no noise pollution involved with them. Mine rumbles. Every one wheel I've had rumbles, but I don't really see that happening on people who I'm riding with. Like when I'm riding with other one wheelers, I don't hear their one wheel rumbling like mine. I say mine growls. I got growlers when I get one wheels. I got growlers and I love them. It makes them sound mean. It is very wide and does most of the balancing itself. Yes, it does. It's self-balancing. Very nice. Like I said, tool for narrow. I've rode a one wheel around New York City, so I have ridden one wheels in crowded places. If you consider New York City crowded, and it is, and everyone should, I got a video on my one wheel channel. It's just my name, Roderick Wortham. But I have a video on my one wheel channel where I ride the one wheel pint around New York City. So if you want to see that, go check that out on my one wheel channel there. I think I have appendicitis. Oh my God. Cool thing about appendixes, just evolutionarily speaking, I'm not sure, how we feel about that in this chat, but our appendixes were a second stomach at one point in our evolution. When I found that, I thought that was super interesting. It's smaller now because we're cooking food and we're chewing food, right? And we're cooking it, which means our digestion system needs to do less these days because we're handling a lot of that before it even gets there. Interesting. Thanks for bringing that up. It was free during the beta. eInk, I'm serious. I have the symptoms. Maybe it's only gas, but it doesn't feel like that. Oh, Mike. Don't forget to join tomorrow's show, Mike. Tomorrow's show is in partly due to you, okay? You're going to want to see this show tomorrow. All right, let's go ahead and go to the rest of these stories we got here. Next up, we have Google Task keeps reminder migration. Google Task and keeps reminders migration will happen later in 2025. And this is just talking about the apps, Google Keep and Google Tasks. They both have reminder sections that you can keep reminders in both of those apps. They're going to share that information starting later this year. So that's what this is about. Let's go ahead and get into it. A recently updated support document notes how Google Keep reminders will migrate to tasks. Here we are. Will migrate to tasks in the second half of 2025. At that point, Keep reminders are automatically saved to tasks when you tap the bell icon in the top right corner. That sheet today says saved by Google Reminders. They'll feature a From Google Keep badge in the future. Afterwards, you can find, edit, and complete reminders in Keep, Calendar, Task, and Assistant. Google Keep features a dedicated feed for reminders in the navigation drawer, with the app offering a better experience if there's a long note attached to the reminder. So, like I said, this is just integrating or taking reminders and proliferating them through all of their apps that use reminders. So when you put it in Keep, it'll show up in your tasks and vice versa. So you should start seeing your reminders everywhere. I think that's cool. I do more with reminders and tasks. I've never kept reminders in Keep. So if you guys do that kind of workflow, let me know how that works for you. The next thing we got up here is Google adds The Legend of Zelda Easter eggs for live-action movie stars Bo Bragason and Benjamin Evan Ainsworth. Okay, here we go. Let's check this out. We're going to search these guys and see what happens with this. These Google Easter eggs. I haven't done this yet. I saved it for the live show to see what this does. But we're gonna search these and see what happens. Ooh, up top. Well, excuse me, princess. That's cool. I like that. A little princess emoji right there. All right. What about Benjamin? Let's search up Benjamin and see what we get. Oh my goodness. There we go. Ooh, Kaya Haya. Okay, that's the slashing. That's a slashing sound that Link makes. Oh, it's an elf emoji. I couldn't see what that was at first, but yeah, it's an elf emoji. Okay, cool. All right, so Google's getting in on the two young actors getting their roles in Zelda. I love it. I like seeing stuff like this. Again, we talked about these guys before on a live last week. When we talked about them being named as the actors for Zelda and Link in the new live-action Link or Zelda movie. Very interesting. I'm glad to see we got more going on with them. Some hype being built up around these guys. Next thing we got here is Google leaks its full Pixel 10 lineup. Now they didn't leak They didn't leak it. Someone found it. Who we got here? I think Android. Some people at Android Authority are the ones who found this. Yeah, Android Authority. So some of the folks at Android Authority unearthed this particular banner right here that shows all of the Pixel devices here. So it looks like we have the Pixel 10 Pro up here. It looks like the Note, the Pixel, not Note, it's Pixel Fold right here, the new Pixel Fold. Looks like the new regular Pixel 10, and then we have a probably Pixel 10a device right here, maybe. Super interesting though. Super interesting. Oh, hand up in Discord. My bad. Here we go. We're going up to Discord. All right. So we got a hand up in Discord. Let's go over here and oh, how can we enable this? Oh, there we go. All right, so I've invited you to speak. You should be able to come up now. Oh, can we get this to work? Oh, there we go. Awesome. Hold on, let me switch over and then we're good to go. Awesome, it works. Okay, so let me. Now I got to put these headphones on. one day, you guys will have this working, and I'll be ready for all of this. Give me 1 second. I think I'm already set up in the headphones. Hello? Oh, there we go. I can hear you now. Oh. All right, you're a bit choppy, so that may be all right. All right, if you can hear me, you are a little bit choppy, so that may be on my end though. But go ahead and let's see if it clears up.
So I have thoughts. Firstly, one of the Google Funny Catchment with Apple Notes. That was genius.
Oh, hold on. All right, hold on. Let me restart this. So what I'm going to do is we're going to restart the Discord because it is choppy, and I found that restarting it the last time helped. So let me restart the Discord. I'm gonna come out, but don't go anywhere. Come back to the events channel when you can, or as soon as you can, and we'll get it going. All right, so my bad, chat. I wanted to get that going, but I had to restart Discord because it was having a problem, and I'm sure that was on my end. I'm almost positive that was on my end, but I'm going to start restarting Discord every live, so that's not a thing for me. All right, now let me get back to this. Let's get back to the. Where is it at? Oh, there we go. Event channel. Okay. All right. So I'm not sure who that was in the events channel. But if you can come back to the events channel, if you want to share that opinion with us, that would be great. And I think I need to join it. Oh, I have to make a new event. I got to cancel this event and make a new one to join it. All right. Listen, we're learning, you guys. We're learning. We're going to delete this. Nope. We're not going to delete the channel. We just want to cancel the event. Oh, I can't cancel the event. Maybe I can make a new event. That's probably what I'm going to have to do. I'm probably going to have to make a new event because now it thinks I'm just someone who's joining it, and not creating it. So let's back out. Okay, here we go. My bad, chat. Just forgive me for this. I was not ready. I was not ready. I wonder if I can bring myself up. Okay, there we go. Okay, now I'm back in the stage. Perfect. Whew, all right. Now I can invite someone to talk. Perfect. Okay, we're getting there. Invite to speak. Okay, there we go. Now we got the invite to speak. Yes, there we go. It sounds so much better now. Absolutely. Oh, do tell.
Well, I mean, Apple over here, in terms of phones, they aren't as popular as they are in the States. We prefer Android.
Oh,
However,
yeah,
with the tablets,
absolutely.
With the tablets, because of the services that are provided through them, people much prefer them. I think if Google could actually pin those things down, they'd probably get more market gain, or rather, Samsung and One, who are the people that seem to be doing a better job with their tablets on the Android ecosystem than Pixel do.
Absolutely.
It's just
I agree with that.
it's not as cohesive a service as Apple is. Like even the basic stuff like their stylus and things like that. It's just it's a crappy experience all over. It's just it doesn't have that continuity that the Apple ecosystem does.
I agree with
Think
that.
a lot of people prefer.
Right, and a lot of that has to do with one of the technologies that we talk about, where we're increasingly talking more about in the eInk community, which is the active stylus versus Wacom. Now, Apple seems to be doing something unique with their stylus, so it works really well with their iPad, whereas Google is going through the USI standard. They're going the active route, which is not as accurate, doesn't work as well, doesn't have as many features. So, yeah, I don't think Google's approach right now can ever be as good as Apple's in its current iteration.
Do you think it's just because they're more content to leave the tablet space to the likes of Samsung and OnePlus and Red Dragon and people like that more so
Well,
than because I
yeah, I
think
would
that
agree with
Google
that.
kind of I think Google as a mindset they're very much more like Microsoft than they are with Apple, where they view themselves to be a software company first and foremost, and they produce things like the Pixel line to demonstrate how hardware should conform to their standards.
Hmm.
Does that
Agreed.
make sense?
Agreed. Yeah,
You know,
absolutely. Yeah.
Pixel is the reference model, whereas from there, Samsung can fly and do their thing with the Z Fold and things like that, and it's great. It's great that it does that. I think Microsoft does a really good job as well, where they don't actually expect to make too many sales in terms of their Surface devices because they're
Hmm.
demonstrating how the market should react to their software. I
But you
would
know what's
argue.
different? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, no, no. Go ahead.
I was gonna just comment on your comment about the Surface, because I feel the exact same way about Microsoft and the Surface. Obviously their Surface is a reference um, product line for how it should be done. And what's weird is that how Microsoft differs from Google in the sense is that um, Microsoft cares about their reference device.
Yeah.
Google doesn't seem to.
I I don't think it's how do I put this delicately? Google are like Linux or Linux.
Hmm.
Um, I don't think they really care about aesthetics, or they don't understand aesthetics in the way that
Yeah.
the Linux community does. You know,
Hmm.
M- Microsoft in a way is kind of like the Goldilocks zone in terms of aesthetics. They kind of they understand the importance of how things look and feel. Apple are obsessed with the way things look. Google just has a kind of an engineer's mindset of what is
There
most
we go. That's what I
practical.
was just about to say. You hit the nail on
Yeah,
the head. Google has this engineer's mindset, whereas that kind of perspective never pops into their head, because they're
no,
thinking of it from a purely engineering standpoint.
yeah. Um,
Hmm.
I don't like I said. I think that going forward, that there's certainly that the way things are moving with hardware, from what I've seen, is that this was actually why I wanted to actually hop in and talk. The Our barrier to miniaturization at the moment is very much power and our ability to keep something going during the day. Right now, it's not so difficult with things like a Pixel or an iPhone or a Z Fold, because you can put a 4500 milliamp hour in the back of a phone, and
Hmm.
everyone carries around a slab of glass.
Yep.
Um, Satya, about a decade, was bang on with the idea of just carrying around a module which will be very, very tiny. We're talking about microcircuitry because we're on the nanometer process. We're getting down to about a nanometer in our semiconductors now. We're getting to the point where it's going to be moving to subatomic process, and I think it's going to facilitate a new technological arms race where we're able to miniaturize things even further than we have before, which will facilitate just being able to use things as as having these modules that just like feed information, feed data to glasses, that we
Mm,
walk around with, and we don't think about, our haptic feedback. We just have our hands free all the time.
right. Do you think we're going to still carry around a phone type of device in
I
that
don't
kind
think
of
so.
future? Okay,
I
gotcha.
don't think so. I honestly don't think so. I think that Apple and Microsoft, especially, are aware of this. I don't think Google is as aware of this, even though they're investing or starting to invest in things like artificial intelligence and augmented reality now. But it's worth bearing in mind that Apple have been on the forefront of AI, even though they've shown sweet Fox alpha about it over the past 15 years. They've been working on Apple glasses for the best part of 15, 20 years now.
Mm-hmm.
That was
Yeah.
one of
Yep.
Steve Jobs' big hits. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft have been on it ever since VR. They saw VR and they saw AR, and they were like, no, I'm fine. We'll go the other way. And they've been developing into HoloLens. I've seen some of the stuff that they've been working on with in labs where they've been looking at integrated heads-up displays and things like not just Jetfire displays, but cars,
Yeah.
in glasses and things like that. They've really started cracking down the idea of integrating human interactive displays in transparency. They're not as intent in going for virtual reality. It's why I can confidently say that I don't think virtual reality has as much longevity as AI does, because I think that the future is going to be more about how you interact with the world and how the world interacts with you. To give you an
Instead of
idea,
getting out of the world.
if you
Yeah.
remember Minority Report,
Yeah, I do.
the human interactive displays on that with the gloves.
Oh yeah, I remember. I remember seeing that, and see the thing with that is it seemed like all AR, right? But it was they weren't wearing AR glasses to see that. It was just in front of them. There we go, holographic. There we go, holograms.
Um, I think I don't think that's the way that I think that's as far as the understanding went in when they made Minority Report. That was the way Microsoft saw things were going, because they didn't conceive of the idea of having batteries small enough that would last all day. I think
Hmm.
that people, for example, was sort of like they take sort of like a strap that sort of like carried like a thin battery on the back of the heads or whatever. If it gave them the heads-up display all day, or the majority of the battery power that came from the module.
Hmm.
um, the way that you interact with Minority Report was through the gloves, like with the light beams and things like that, which is why it was interesting when you brought up the Meta gloves.
Hmm.
We're already moving towards things like this. We're already moving towards a society where we're encouraged to be more interactive with the world, and I think that that's a conscious decision. I think that eh, I think that there are a lot of people in the tech field that have determined that we've become far too distracted and far too disjointed because of the way that we interact with the reality,
Yeah,
and
and
they're
I think
trying
you're right.
to. Sorry, go ahead.
No, no, I was just agreeing with you. I think you're right about that.
I think that they're doing some degree of course correction. I- it's going to be an interesting next 30 years. You know.
I think the next
Um,
5 years. I mean, the way companies, because the way I see it is this: AR. I think you're right. Is going to be way more used than VR. But man, you can't discount VR because I've said this many a times. I've said it many a times in the past, and I'll say it again here. When the porn industry picks up a technology, it's going to take off. And
I,
the
I
porn industry is hardcore on VR right now.
I think I think that's the way. I think that's the limit of where it's going to go, though, where it's going to be an entertainment device as
Yeah. Oh yeah.
opposed to a human
Oh yeah.
interactive device. You,
Absolutely.
you
I
know,
agree with that
it's.
too.
I think there were. I think technology is starting to branch again. I think it's starting to sort of like find ways where we can interact with one thing. Things like Neuralink, for example.
Hmm.
I
Oh,
think most
yeah,
people would
and
be.
that brings in the hand strap that we were talking about not too long ago as
Yeah,
well. And yeah, yeah.
I think it's interesting to know how anti people are with Neuralink at the moment, because if had come from anyone other than Elon, people would be saying this thing can cure epilepsy. Let's get it in people's brains.
Hmm.
But because you've got Elon that's pushing this device, people are saying, maybe
Yeah,
not.
see, I said that the other day too. I'm like, that's one of the. I mean, I like Teslas. The technology behind them, awesome, excellent. I mean, I wanted one for so long, but as soon as my idea on Elon started to turn, my idea on Tesla started to turn, and where I couldn't separate the technology from the person. So you're right. Who it's
Uh,
coming from, or who the messenger is a major part in how people perceive it.
I think the good news on that, and I think the good news on a lot of things actually, is that, as as with Tesla, as with OpenAI, people are starting to catch up with what was once proprietary technology. They're coming up with their own inventive ways of being able to provide those services as well. Tesla is
Hmm.
not it's not going to be the outlier and the sole distributor of a vehicle that is that good. And you could
I
argue
agree.
that it's not even that good, for long. Um, I think that I think in the next few years we're going to see that the entire way we understand computing and technology be reshaped entirely. You can already see waves of it in minor ways, like for example, um, Xbox is moving away from sort of having a sole console hardware. What no one's mentioning is that at the same time, they've been talking to people like Samsung about putting ARM processors directly into their TVs that are powerful enough to be able to drive games.
Hmm.
To provide the system on chip directly in the TV, along with storage that just allows you to download and service a game from there, so that you got a game installed on your hard drive, but it's largely serviced from the cloud.
Right.
It's taken a while, but we're getting there. We
Yeah.
are getting there. I really think so. It's just
Well,
it's
yeah.
taken a while for people to understand where we're going.
And I think that's the thing. I think that's where we're going as well. And I just think a lot of the technologies that we're talking about today, like I just mentioned, are pushing us along in that particular direction. Um, but yeah, man, thank you so much for your input on this topic. It's been an eye-opening conversation, and I'm glad we could get it working and I'm glad you came back. So thank you for coming back to this conversation after we had that hiccup in the beginning there.
Yeah, man, that's no problem. I'll catch
And,
you
and,
later,
and
okay?
thanks a lot. All right. Yep. You too, man. Take care.
Bye.
All right. Man. Whoa. So we're getting somewhere with the call-ins. We've gotten at least two working like in the last couple of lives. I'm gonna get better at that. I'll have the headphones on so we don't have that hiccup, and I'll also make sure I start restarting the Discord so we don't get that roboticness going on at the beginning. Absolutely. So thank you so much for you guys sticking around for that, and thanks for the participation. Now I couldn't fit the name with the Discord name with the name in the chat, so I want to shout out who that was just now, but I couldn't put the two names together. So let me know who you are in the YouTube chat, who we just had the conversation with, and so I can properly shout you out. All right. So what do we got next up here? Let's go back to the stories we got over here, and we can finish these things up. I think the next thing we got up here is Google Home frustrations and how they're going to update this particular software. Now, I've been dealing with Google Home for over a decade, for a very long time. I would almost probably say, I can't say that. I won't stretch it to the 2 decade mark, but I've been dealing with Google and their Google Home stuff for a very long time. And I can remember a time when Google Home speakers were great. Oh, Owen, that was Owen. Awesome. Thanks, Owen. Okay, I said I couldn't put the name with that. So I'm gonna matter of fact, I'm gonna go into Discord right now and just put Owen on your name. So um I'm good on who this was here. All right. Thanks, Owen. And I appreciate you for coming on and trying it and coming back when we had that hiccup. That meant a lot to me. I really appreciate that because I really do want to get the call-in section going and working properly. I think that's going to be okay, those batteries died. So I think that's going to be a huge part of the show and something that people are going to enjoy a lot and get a lot from and add a lot to. So I really appreciate that. All right. So like I said, if you're a Google Home user and you've been a Google Home user for a while, I'm specifically talking about the speakers, the Google Home Assistant speakers. They used to be so helpful. A long time ago, they were super helpful. I don't know when it happened, but one day they just started not working. And thank you too, eInk, for letting me know Owen was in the Discord. Thank you. But one day it stopped working like it was like working in the past. I'm not sure what happened. Like commands that I would use to turn my lights on, like morning routines. I would say, "Good morning, Google," and then it would start a morning routine. It would turn my lights on. It would start a song that I wanted it to play, and then after like 15 minutes, it would start the news because it knew I was in the shower. And it would switch from my bedroom speaker to the bathroom speaker, and knew that's where I was going. And it was just beautiful. I loved it. One day, all of that just stopped working. Okay, and it couldn't even tell me. It wouldn't even tell me the weather at one point. I'm like, they got that working again. But so if you are in that same boat with me, frustrated with Google Assistant, there might be some respite here. There may be some respite. Oh, thanks for the super chat, eInk. You're the best as always. All right, so I really appreciate eInk. She's awesome, and she's just a warrior in the eInk community. All right, so that's basically the problem I was having with this. And this thing right here, this update right here happened over Twitter. So we have this Twitter update from Anish Katuk. I want to say this correctly. Katukaran. There we go. Anish Katukaran. Hey, everyone. I just wanted to acknowledge the recent feedback about Google Assistant reliability on our home devices. I sincerely apologize for what you're experiencing and feeling. Wait, recent? If you mean recent, mean this, I don't know, this century? In the last 25 years? Yeah, that's recent. Okay, whatever. We hear you loud and clear and are committed to getting this right and making sure we have a long-term solution that provides better reliability and compatibility. We have been actively working on major improvements for some time and will have more to share in the fall. So looking forward to more updates in the fall. This is coming directly from Google, so like I said, I've had problems with Google Assistant for a very long time. So any help this guy can give me is going to be super appreciated for sure. All right, what else we got here? We have YouTube Shorts is adding an image to video AI tool and new AI effects. Now, when I read this, I thought, oh, Google or YouTube is going to be adding you tools to make shorts out of pictures. That's not what this is. Okay, this is essentially the same story we talked about the other day when I talked about Google Photos is now allowing you to take a picture and animate that picture, basically create a video from that picture. Now, very interesting tool. I like it. So I'm like, okay, well, how does this integrate into YouTube? It doesn't. They're just saying, because we allow you to do this, you can now take those videos and upload them as shorts. Okay, I was so upset. I'm like, give me a tool in YouTube, bro. If that's what I'm doing with it, that's where the tool should be. Don't make me do this in Photos, export it, import it, and come on, just give it to me in YouTube. That's not what's happening though. Even in here, this is an official YouTube blog. Unlock next level shorts with new creation tools. Like, come on. Yeah, you can create shorts with this, but this tool should be in the YouTube app, in my opinion. But whatever. Let's go to the chat real quick. Owen said, sorry, I was all over the place. No, you weren't all over the place, Owen. I really appreciated your take on where you think the industry with this small tech is going. And your insight into your part of the world, that's the most important thing. So anytime I can get insight to different parts of the world and just different people's perspective on things, it's super valuable, super valuable. And I learned that from eInk. Feels like Google Home Assistant hasn't been working forever lately. What issues do you think they're specifically talking about now? I don't know, eInk, which issues they're talking about now, to be honest. I want to say he's talking about the same issues we've always been talking about, but he's just making it sound like it hasn't been going on for over 10 years. But, that's just my guess. That's just my guess. But yeah, let's go on to the next story we got here. Next up, we got Apple launches a $20 a month Apple Care One subscription with coverage for 3 devices. Let's go ahead and read through this article because I think this is pretty interesting information, especially if you own any kind of Apple device. Mobile devices, because they drop and they break and crack all the time. When Apple started offering unlimited fixes for their Apple Care Plus plan, I thought, wow, that's pointing them in the right direction right there of things they should be doing. But anyway, here we go. Apple announces on Wednesday that it's launching Apple Care One, a new $19.99 a month subscription plan that includes coverage for up to 3 products. Customers can choose to add protection for more devices for $5.99 per month each. Until now, people had to enroll their Apple devices into separate Apple Care Plus plans if they wanted additional coverage for their products beyond the standard warranty. Now the company offers bundling coverage. Apple Care One includes all the benefits of Apple Care Plus, including unlimited repairs for accidents like drops or spills, 24/7 support from Apple exports, and battery coverage. Apple Care One adds theft and loss protection beyond iPhone to also cover iPad and Apple Watch. For the first time ever, Apple is letting customers add Apple Care coverage to their Apple products they already own. So if you already own an Apple product, you can add coverage to it. Like that's amazing. Listen, other companies need to follow this, okay? Everybody needs to get on board with this. I'm speaking to you, Samsung, okay? I'm looking at you, Samsung. With the new subscription plan, customers can also add products up to 4 years old if they are in good condition. To verify that a device is in good condition, it may be required to undergo a diagnostic check using a customer's iPhone or an iPad, or at an Apple store before being added to the plan. Add to Apple Care. Okay. Apple Care One pricing is the same regardless of the products that are covered, meaning a customer can enroll their iPhone, iPad, and Apple Watch and save up to $11 a month over enrolling a separate Apple Care Plus plan for each device. Apple explains this in a press release. So this is the press release information that Apple put out. This means that if someone buys Apple Care One when they purchase a new MacBook Pro and add their iPhone to the plan, they can already be saving money by not having 2 separate Apple Care Plus plans. Plus, they will get even more value if they include another device like an Apple Watch. Only devices in the customer's Apple account can be covered under the Apple Care One, Apple says. So just keep in mind you have to have these things registered with Apple for this to be a thing. And you may even have to have them validated at an Apple store. For users who just want protection for one device, Apple says they can continue to sign up for Apple Care Plus. The tech giant also notes that the new theft and loss coverage for Apple Watch and iPad will not only be part of the Apple Care One, but also be available as part of Apple Care Plus for customers who want to cover a single iPad or Apple Watch. Apple Care One is available starting Thursday, which is today, in the United States. Customers can sign up for Apple Care One directly or on their iPhone, iPad, or Mac by visiting the Apple Store. All right, this is cool. This is cool. All right, so this should do a lot of Apple users a favor. Like getting Apple devices replaced and fixed isn't cheap, and this just ensures that you can get, if you have multiple, which they should have been doing a long time ago. Like, do they not think people have the phone, the watch, probably, and the iPad? You know what I mean? When you're in the ecosystem, you probably have all of those. Unlike me, I just have the MacBook Pro. I don't need any other Apple devices right now, but I may look at that iPad. I may, just the Notes app. All right, what else we got here? Oh, We got our last news story up here. Last thing we got up here is itch.io follows Steam in removing adult games. Okay, the first thing I thought was Steam had adult games? Like, what happened? Does anybody know what happened? Can somebody enlighten me? I didn't even know Steam had and what do we mean adult games? What does that mean? What are we talking about? I was like, okay, where was I at when Steam? I've been on Steam for, how long have I been on Steam? Let me pull up Steam right now. They should have my membership up there. Oh, I don't have Steam on the Mac? Oh, because I don't play games on the Mac. It's just on the PC. Okay, never mind. I'm like, this must be like adult content on Reddit. Like, I'm like, Reddit has adult content? My algorithm is all messed up. Like, how come no one told me this? Like, my brother put me on it. I'm like, what? Like, my algorithm is so unlike most people's. I'm only seeing like eInk and tech stuff on my algorithms. I'm not getting anything salacious. Like, what? Like, holy cow. All right. And that's the news for the day. Holy cow. All right, everybody. That's going to be the show for today. That's going to be the show. I really appreciate everybody for joining today. It was fun. Today's show was a lot of fun. Thank you for joining. Tomorrow's going to be a special announcement. So join tomorrow if you care about those sorts of things. Well, I mean, not a special announcement, but you know, it's going to be a good show tomorrow. Okay, let's put it like that. It's going to be a good show tomorrow. If you like such things, join us tomorrow. Again, Monday through Friday, we do Rants About Tech live at 10 a.m. to kind of whenever. We're trying to get this thing to an hour. We did an hour and 40 minutes today. No, probably an hour and 30 minutes today. We're trying to get this to an hour if we can. So, you know, cross your fingers. We might get there one day. Alex, how's it going? Thanks for joining. Even though we're about to go, but you gotta get the air horns. It's the outro air horn for Alex. Check us out on the replay, Alex, for sure. Go ahead and like if you like, subscribe if you want to see more, you guys. And again, Monday through Friday, we'll be here tomorrow. So until then, take care.